Friday. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, thank God it's Friday, Friday. I am so excited, Enoch, that today is Friday because I have to rest and have time for, do a lot of visiting and all, catching up to do. I've got a whole lot of that to do this weekend. And Owambe. But do I have Owambe this Friday? I think I need to think about it, but I'm super excited. Thank you, viewers, for always tuning in. This is your newspaper review, and my name is Modo Dominic, and with me is
Enoch
and Engineer Ola. And his voice today is so calm because Alaji, let me not say much because there's too much to talk about. We'll go on a break and we'll be right back, and then we'll let you know what we have for the newspaper review today. Stay tuned. Yes, welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. So we'll quickly look at our quote for the day. Enoch, could you help us with that?
All right. So the quote for the day is taken from the book of Nehemiah chapter 8 verse 10. It says, "Then he said unto them, Go your way, eat the fat and drink the sweet, and send portions unto them whom nothing is prepared. For this day is only unto our Lord. And neither be ye sorry, for the joy of the Lord is your strength."
Exactly. Eat, drink, marry, have fun. It's weekend. Eat, drink, marry, give to those around you who do not have. Extend a hand of love to people. I keep saying this every now and then. Extend a hand of love to people. There are people who just need to just hear you say, "I love you. What do you need? How is it going with you? How are you?" Questions like this go a long way. You don't necessarily have to give material things. You don't necessarily have to give money, but your time and then the fact that you care and you're paying attention to little details goes a long way. And here it is saying, go enjoy, marry, show some love to people, because the joy of the Lord is our strength, and it will continue to be our strength. So let's look at the first story that we have. And the first story is from the Punch newspaper. And it says, "Court hears a Emefiele DSS applications August 15. The Federal High Court in Lagos on Thursday fixed August 15 to hear an application by the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, seeking to halve his trial by the federal government through the Department of State Service. The court will also hear the application by the DSS seeking to appeal the 20 million bail granted to Emefiele by the court." So this is the first story that we have on the Punch newspaper. So Engineer Ola.
Well, since the matter is in the court, we don't have much to say about that. DSS is seeking to appeal the judgment that, okay, you don't have to bail our accused person. And Emefiele is seeking judgment that, no, I have to go on bail. And also that these firearms that you said you saw in my possession are not guilty of the offense. So since the matter is in court, we just have to be liberal about it and wait for the outcome of the court. There's nothing we can really say now, since the matter is in the court.
In court. Okay. Anything to say as regards that?
Just like Engineer Ola said, it's in the court, so we have to await what the court says before we know.
Before we pass judgments. Because we Nigerians were very good at passing judgments even when the court has not passed the judgment yet. All right, so let's take a look at the second story that we have. And it says that bus crashes into Lagos shops, kill mother and daughter. A yet-to-be-identified woman was crushed to death alongside a 2-year-old daughter in the Ikotun area of Lagos on Thursday. Punch Metro reports that another trader was injured as a bus rammed into some shops along the roadside opposite Toluwalashe Governor's Road, Ikorodu. An eyewitness who gave his name as Tayo said the bus driver fled. Okay, the bus driver fled when he was almost lynched by the passerby who gathered at the scene of the incident. You know, this is quite sad that we keep having things like this go on, and the full story tells that the brake of the vehicle failed, and then the picture literally showed how he jumped the bus jumped the gutter and then hit the shops. Exactly. So, and then the innocent woman running to go and rescue the child also was crashed together with the child, and then they passed on immediately. And it's quite sad that this is one of the things that we face. And one just happened around my area yesterday, where a driver was told to be sleeping while driving, and then he just crushed the bike man that was right in front of him. In fact, he literally pushed him ahead to the tree that was ahead, and then the man died immediately. Just before they could get to the hospital, the man passed on. So, and I really do not know why things like this keep going on. Is it that we don't pay attention to, when a car is faulty and then they say the car is faulty, can we get this fixed? And if you're tired, you need a break, you want to sleep, take permission if need be. It won't, the money you would miss for that day will not end your life, rather than end people's life just because of our carelessness.
At times, sometimes we don't just blame the driver. We don't know what occurred. I actually drive also, and there are days whereby I've done my checking, I've done everything, check the fuel gauge, check the oil, and then things just happen. It just happens out of your control. You can't just control it. There was a day I was driving my cousin's car along Maryland, and then the brakes had issue. It wasn't pressing. I had to climb over a covert just to slow the car down and get off the car. So at that point, I didn't know what was going on the driver's mind. Probably the brake failed, and I was trying to look for a way to reduce, and probably lost the balance of the steering, and he hit. But then, if it was actually not intentional, or he didn't really have much, he wouldn't have run from the scene. But then they said the driver fled from the scene. So obviously there's something that has happened before, trying to avoid probably. But it's very unfortunate to have lost a mother and a daughter.
Honestly, that's like a whole family.
I can imagine the husband right now.
Engineer.
So you see, in cases like this, there's something I want to say here, that if you are a driver,
Yes, welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. It's still your newspaper review on Cactv. If you're just joining us, we're about to take our first story on Tribune newspaper. And the first story that we have on Tribune says petrol pump price may jump to 750 naira per litre. IP man says this, and this says that the pump price of the premium motor spirits PMS may yet increase to about 750 naira per litre. The Independent Petroleum Marketer Association of Nigeria has hinted. This is even as the association urged the government to initiate policies that would save the naira from further depreciation.
About 150 naira to $1. And this fuel is important to the country. You know, we are not buying from the local market. Importers are buying from abroad. You know, where we send out our crude oil for refinery, But now that the dollar is rising, what do? So the only thing we can do now is to attack what is causing the dollar rate to go higher. And what is that? That is causing to go higher is because Nigeria is owing a lot of money. Federal government is owing money to pay salaries of workers. And workers are now demanding for increment in salary. How do you reconcile this? Me, I don't understand. I don't know the solution. Now I think our economists who have PhD in economics all over the world should come down to Nigeria and be able to save Nigerian economy. But if the price of dollar goes to about 1,000 naira and above, automatically the fuel price will increase.
Yes.
And when it increases, it affects every phase of the economy. So what do we do about that? So we are now begging the government to look into that. At least if our refinery is working, you know, it's a very good thing. We have an alternative. You can swap to our local refinery and buy from them. But our refinery is not working. Some people are talking about a modular refinery, that the government is working on it. If the government is working on it, make it speedy, make it fast, so that Nigerians can enjoy the dividend of democracy. We are now saying that there is a coup d'etat in Niger, and the coupists are saying it's because of the hardship on the economy. Though I know very well that there's nothing the coupists can do on the economy without the cooperation of other countries, because no man is an island. You can't stand and you can't walk alone. But the same thing in Nigeria now, there's no coup in Nigeria, but the economy is not laughing at us. Economy is not smiling. If you look at Nigerian faces on the road every day, they're not smiling. Oh. They're not smiling at all.
What's that?
So the economists of the world, that is, I'm talking about Nigerians who are economists of the world, they should gather themselves and
see how we can
a solution to this.
Come out of this.
Otherwise, we are going to the inflation of no return. No.
Enoch.
I mean, if the price of fuel increase beyond this limit, I don't think a lot of us will have to probably leave the country. Because it is alarming. Imagine 750 naira per litre. And as engineer said, the whole root of all these things boils down to dollar. So how do we make dollar stop increasing? How do we? I don't know how to. I'm not an economist per se, so I don't know what solution. But then we need to sit down together. I mean, the people, whatever they are doing, you need to sit down and profile a solution before this thing gets out of hand. Because I can't imagine having to come from my house to the studios and having to spend over 3,000 naira on top of transportation. Wow.
And now it's so bad that, you know, before you go out, you have to so calculate again, look again, check again, and make sure you have extra somewhere so you don't get stranded. It's really so sad. So let's take a look at the second story that we have still on Tribune newspaper, and this says Katsina, we have no peace according to bandits. Governor Rada says this. Governor Umaru Rada has disclosed that the Katsina state government under his leadership will not sign any peace according to marauding armed bandits who terrorize and kills innocent residents of the state. He, however, said that this his administration will be willing to offer amnesty to terrorists who turn a new leaf by agreeing to surrender. Rather stated this at a special prayer session for the restoration of peace in the state and the neighboring league. So this is the second story that we have in the Punch.
Now you see this governor. I don't understand his mouth language and his body language. You are saying that all the terrorists who have surrendered and give up arms, you give them amnesty.
Encourage them again.
You give them amnesty. You know, people have done that in the past. What is the story behind it? They will always go back.
Because it's more like you're empowering them.
They always go back to terrorism. No, okay. Some people are given amnesty, you know, after this so-called Nigerian army raid. They surrendered and they were given amnesty. What happened to them? Some of them went back. Now you are now saying that every local government in your state should come up with a proposal that you are ready to provide for them security and arms to fight terrorists. And at the same time, you are now saying that we want to give them amnesty. In the international world, they don't do that. Americans don't discuss with, if they want to discuss with terrorists, I classify discussion, not this particular one. Because it's like a circle. These terrorists will go back again, like a dog will go back to its own vomit. Yes. The same thing will happen. So if you want to do away with these terrorists, it's either we pick up a fight against them and then make sure that we do away with them, we fight them strongly, and then we don't have them again. Peace. But when you want to give them amnesty, so somebody will come to your house, steal your properties, and the person again tomorrow afternoon or morning, you see him on the road, so I want to give you amnesty, come back and work in my house. So I don't understand his body language with his mouth language. He's saying the same thing. There's no way to say zero. Zero is zero. That's my take on that.
Thank you, Enoch.
Yeah, I actually quite find what this governor is saying contradictory, because he said we have no peace accord with the bandits, yet we are still telling them that you are ready to grant amnesty to those who turn a new leaf. It's like you are telling them that if you change your ways, what about the things they've done before? Do you think that these people, in their right mind, they will commit all these atrocities, kill people, kill children, burn villages and everything, and then now come and change a new leaf? It doesn't happen like that now. You don't do stuff like that. You need to take care of them, take them out once and for all, and then the whole story.
I just hope that he understands this and is diplomatic about it. We'll look at the story that we have in the Sun newspaper. Our first story in the Sun newspaper says INEC still open to future collaboration with EU. That's Yakubu speaking, chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Mahmoud Yakubu has said the commission is still open to future collaboration with the European Union, despite the complaints that trailed the unfavorable report from the subnational union against the conduct of the 2023 general election. He stated this at the handover of the Innovation Technology Tools Facility by the Development Alternative Incorporated in Abuja yesterday. So that's another story that we find in the Sun newspaper.
Yeah, what he's saying here in essence is that we are ready to progress. We are ready to accept new ideas. If the European Union is giving us a better way to conduct our election, we'll look into it, study it carefully, and if it's good, we'll accept it. That's what he's saying in essence. That there's no neglecting any advice from any angle. Yes. We are coming up gradually. Rome was not built in a day. But the foundation was laid in a day. Nigeria we are just being progressive on democracy. We have been constant now. And before now, for many years, it was military rule. But now we have democracy in Nigeria, and we believe it is better than the military regime. I'm not saying 100% the politicians are good, oh. They have their own negative side of it, oh. But we are progressing. If Nigeria can now say that, okay, we want to fight coupists in Niger because we are not being ruled by military guys, military junta. That's what they call it. They don't call them military government, they call them military junta. That some boys will just, assemble themselves and say, hey, we don't support what the government is doing. We don't like this, we don't like that. We have experience in Nigeria. We have not seen any tangible changes. So if the INEC is now saying that, okay, we are ready to take in new ideas from anybody, it's a kudo to them.
Thank you so much. Okay, so let's look at the second story that we have in the Sun newspaper. And this says ministerial screening. Tinubu shunned red flags. Senator Imashun. Senator representing Edo South, Nada Imashun of the Labour Party (LP), has said the poor handling of the background check on ministerial nominees before they were sent to the Senate for confirmation was responsible for controversies. He said if the presidency had done its due diligence, the embarrassment would have been avoided. Imashun stated this during an interactive session with Association of Edo State Journalists at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja.
I do not agree with this man.
Why?
Yes. When you say democracy, government of the people, by the people, for the people. You have party leaders in every state. And what is obtainable here is that in every state, the party leaders will now decide, oh, you go for the Senate. That is what they have to do. You are not the presidency. Because if I nominate a person that, okay, Mr. President, sir, I want this man from my state as the chairman of the party, I want him to be a minister. And if he says no to it without any reason at all, I will say, that man is a very, very bad man. I will show him paper. But now, the list you bring, I will send the list to the Senate, to decide if the man is fit or not fit. To do the background check is not the work of the president. It's the work of the party leaders in the state to do background check on every candidate who wants to be a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
That's true.
Interesting. Enoch, what do you have to say?
Just like Engineer said, I think it's the responsibility of the parties to do a background check before sending in your candidate because you can't send in somebody that does not have the required
screened yourself.
And now want the presidency. Out of everything that we have, they should be coming
paying attention to your own.
With a lot of situations that we have on ground. So it's the responsibility of the party to do the needful before pushing out the candidates to the Senate.
All right, thank you so much for that wonderful contribution. So we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll look at the topic that we have for discussion. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Back, and thanks for staying tuned with us on the newspaper review, and this is Cactv. So like I used to say, feel free to stop by at a YouTube channel and drop your contributions and suggestions. I will be so glad and delighted to hear from you. So let's look at the topic that we have, and this says we'll just look at a brief story of what we want to talk about, and this is updated. ECOWAS orders immediate standby force against Niger juntas. The Economic Community of West African States on Thursday ordered its standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger Republic. The president of ECOWAS, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, made the declaration while reading the resolution of the ECOWAS on the military junta in Niger at the end of the Commission's extraordinary summit in Abuja. It also called on the African Union, partner countries and institutions to support the resolution taken by the sub-regional body. So ECOWAS said all efforts made to dialogue with Niger Republic military junta have been definitely defiantly rejected by COP leaders as they condemn the continuous detention of President Mohamed Bazoum and his family members. So this is really one thing to look out for, and thank you for a big thanks to our president for looking into this case and making sure that there is orderlism, but we make sure, how do we go around with things like this? What's your take, Engineer Ola?
Now you see many pages uncovered, because if you look at the standing position of Nigerian president, yesterday he said, why do you have to hold the former president of Niger? Why do you have to hold him captive?
To ransom.
Hold him to ransom. He's still in the palace, detained. Probably, maybe the man is dead. Probably,
with
maybe
his
the man
family.
has been judged. Probably, we don't know what has happened to the family. And the man has no access to public. You have refused to see any delegation from African Union, from United Nations, and from ECOWAS region. You don't want to see anybody. And there's a very big problem in Niger right now. Okay, look at it economically to Niger. Okay, if you are coming from Europe, you have to fly across Africa from the northern Africa. You have to fly across Niger before you get to Nigeria. If you have to divert, that means you spend more money. Most planes have to go back to their destination country. Go back to their country of origin. They have to refuel, because now it's a longer journey than the normal journey. That means it is falling on the economy of not only Niger, affects practically every country that have to divert their route. Going to any destination in Africa, maybe you are going to Ghana, you are going to Benin, you are going to Sierra Leone, and your normal route is to fly over Niger. You have to reroute your journey. That means more money. That is for the aviation industry, more money. Which means it comes back to us that you have to buy additional tickets. Now and again, when you look at it economically, people are saying Nigeria don't go to war with Niger. Nigeria is not ready to go to war with Niger. That is not the protocol. Before you go to war, you must have a resolution. And then you must also have the approval of the United Nations Security Council. Before you can say, hey, ECOWAS, we want to go to war. What is saying is that we are on standby. That every option is on the table. We can negotiate it. But we are not pulling off or pulling away any option. The military intervention is still there, because it's now affecting not only Niger. I can tell you that in a month's time to come, if they have not changed the government in Niger, things will be worse than this for the neighboring countries. Burkina Faso is saying, hey, we'll support you, Niger, because Burkina Faso is under military rule. The same thing with Mali. Mali is under military rule. And again, what you are fighting for is justifiable, because you are saying, okay, we don't want to work with France again, because they are damaging our lives, because they are damaging our economy. I quite agree with them that, okay, when you look at it very well, you are selling uranium, to Western country, which is France. How much are they buying from you? This is pure exploitation to the Africans. But that's the way to go about it. Now you are holding your president as a hostage in the palace. We don't know anything about his health. What are we thinking about is about to happen in Niger. This will affect every country in West Africa. So Nigeria is not going to war. But Nigeria wants Niger, please bring back democracy. If we don't do it now, when are we going to do it? It's going to spread over. The Republic of Benin is under a francophone country. Ivory Coast is under francophone country. Senegal is there. So if we don't take any action now, this will spread. It's a wind that will not blow anybody good in West Africa.
Enoch, what's your take on this?
I mean, Niger, they need to, in as much as what they are fighting for is quite justifiable, they need to understand who their allies are and who their enemies are. So if we, as your African brothers, you are sending delegates and you are refusing to even negotiate with us and tell us how to help, and you are being defiant, you are creating a picture of yourself as a bad guy, creating openings for countries to what is it called, to sow in discord amongst ourselves, and in that way exploit the Niger itself of their uranium and some other things. So they need to sit down and actually table their what would I call it, their mission or their goals. That what are we planning to achieve by this coup? What are we trying to gain? And we should not lose focus. If we are trying to, what's it called, to free our people of this economic hardship and everything, we shouldn't. Their actions basically is putting their country in worse situations, worse conditions. So they need to sit and look at how to help themselves, because this whole thing that they are doing, not refusing to see what's it called, people coming to negotiate and everything, is not giving them.
It's not the best idea at all
for them at all.
In addition to that, I want to say something. You see, this fight is beyond Niger. If you look at it holistically, and Nigerian stand in the behind every philosophical saying, there's always a selfish end. Nigeria is fighting economically because Nigeria has a project, a very big project in Niger. That is, Nigeria want to extend its pipeline across Niger to Algeria, across the Atlantic, across the ocean to Europe. Why? Because this thing has happened about 40 years ago that Nigeria started this negotiation. Before an oil farm in Nigeria was able to put that money to the tune of about $38 or $30 billion. It's not a small project. And Nigeria is expecting to earn about $800 billion on this project. So it's a project that Nigeria wants to do. But coup in Niger will stop this. Secondly, China is not saying anything on this coup. China built the stadium in Niger. Economically, China is benefiting from Niger because China built the refinery in Niger, and China is buying oil from Niger. I don't want to quote the price. That is, China is also in this game. Russia is there because when the European Union shot the pipeline of Russia, this Nord Stream pipe that was blown by, I don't know who did that. Russia is now looking elsewhere, especially in Africa. They want to partition Africa again. This is what we have to understand. France is on one side, America is supporting France on one side, Russia is on another side, China is on another side. The same Niger. So this is a game that Nigerians, together with African brothers, have to sit down together and see what is the way forward. That we don't want second colonial masters. We don't want to put ourselves in second slavery. So this is between the Africans. You don't have to shun away your brothers. The couplets in Niger don't have to shun away your African brothers. Even when they come to you, embrace them, dialogue together, and find a lasting solution to this problem. Because it's like the Russians, the Chinese, the Americans, the British, the France, they are all
basically
foreigners.
Basically, they are all fighting for their own interests. So thank you. On this note, we'll call it a wrap on today's newspaper review. Thank you so much, our wonderful viewers, for always tuning in and staying tuned to our channel and our TV station. Thank you so much. And last word for your people, please.
Be Nigeria.
By Nigeria. Enoch.
All right, like I always say, if you want to be respected, respect others. If you want good to come to you, do good to others. Stay blessed. And above all, love. Show some love to someone.
Make sure you care. Make sure you pay attention to someone today. It's all that is required. We need to love one another, because when there is love, we can overcome together and we can win the fight. So to this end, I say have a lovely and fantastic weekend. Till we come your way, same time, same station next week. Have a blessed weekend. It's bye for now.
When I was